Next, check inside the cab to ensure your vehicle has a fire extinguisher, it's charged, and the seal is not broken. Also ensure the mounting bracket is not damaged or missing. Sit in the driver's seat and adjust it as needed. Then adjust the left and right rear view mirrors so that both mirrors provide a clear view. Before starting the engine, make sure the parking brake is applied. The automatic transmission shift lever is in the N for neutral position, and the emergency engine stop control is pushed all the way in. To start the vehicle, place the battery switch to the on position. Now depress the accelerator pedal and turn the rotary ignition switch to the start position to engage the starter. After the engine starts, release the lever and it will automatically return to the run position. Run the engine at 700 to 800 RPM for approximately 5 minutes to allow it to warm up, and listen for any unusual noises or vibrations. While the engine is warming, check all instruments and lights. Begin by looking at the tachometer. At idle, it should read between 600 to 650 RPM. The engine oil pressure gauge must show at least 15 psi at idle. Have an assistant check the operation of all lights to include headlights, tail lights, turn signals, brake lights, and blackout lights.
Right turn signal. Good. Four-way flankers. Good.
Then look at the air cleaner gauge to ensure the red band is not visible in the window. If the red band is showing, the air cleaner must be serviced. Back to checking the remaining instruments. Check both primary and secondary air gauges to ensure both gauges show 90 to 130 psi. Look at the voltmeter and ensure it is in the green area. Then ensure the fuel gauge is registering. Sound the horn, then turn on the wipers and washers to make sure they operate and are in good condition. The parking brake is the last before operation check to make. With it applied, push in the spring brake release control and place the transmission in the 1 to 5 range. At idle, the vehicle should not move. You are now ready to operate your vehicle. First, fasten and adjust the seat belt and turn on the light switch to the required position. Ensure the transfer case shift lever is in high range for normal driving conditions. Now depress the brake pedal and place the transmission selector lever in the 1 to 5 range for operation on good roads and minimal grades. Release the parking brake and brake pedal and depress the accelerator pedal. Accelerate at a safe, steady speed to get the vehicle moving and maintain a desired speed as required by changing road or traffic conditions. When driving this vehicle on the road, there are a few tips that must be passed on. The transmission on this vehicle is fully automatic and has 5 forward range selections. However, it can be shifted manually within the RPM range to compensate for driving conditions. The 1 to 5 range has already been discussed. The 1 to 4 and the 1 to 3 ranges are used for moderate grades, heavy traffic, and restricted speed limits. When traveling on steep grades, heavy traffic, and rough terrain, select the 1 to 2 range. For pulling out with heavy loads, extreme grades, or over rough terrain, the 1 range should be used. This vehicle is equipped with complete air brakes. You must understand that with air brakes there is an added delay. The time required for the brakes to work after the brake pedal is pushed. With hydraulic brakes, like those used on cars and light trucks, the brakes work instantly. However, with air brakes, it takes a little time, 1/2 second or more, for the air to flow through the lines to the brakes. To use the air brakes, first constantly monitor the primary and secondary air pressure gauges for readings of 90 to 130 psi. Then let up on the accelerator pedal and apply firm, even pressure to the brake pedal as needed to slow or stop the vehicle for controlled braking. To steer the vehicle, always place your hands at the 3 and 9 o'clock positions. This allows you to maintain control of the vehicle if you have a front tire blowout or hit a pothole. Next are the steps for making right-hand turns. First, signal your intention and turn the vehicle slowly to give yourself and others more time to avoid problems. Don't turn wide to the left as you start the turn. A following driver may think you are turning left and try to pass you on the right. If you can't make the right turn without swinging into another lane, turn wide as you complete the turn. Watch out for vehicles coming toward you. Give them room to back up or stop. However, don't back up for them because you might hit someone behind you. When making left turns, signal your intention and make sure you have reached the center of the intersection before you start the turn. If you turn too soon, the left side of your vehicle may hit another vehicle because of off-tracking. In some left turn situations, there are 2 turning lanes. Always take the right-hand turn lane. Don't start in the inside lane because you may have to swing right to make the turn. Drivers on your right may be hard for you to see. You may hit them. When driving the newer model M939A1 or A2 series trucks, you need to be aware that this vehicle handles differently from older model 5 tons. Earlier models had dual rear tires, while the later models have super single tires. These models have had more rollovers than the earlier models. Driving slower, reducing speed consistent with road, visibility, and weather conditions, slowing before entering curves, and staying on the traveled portion of the roadway are all countermeasures to prevent rollovers. While driving this vehicle, there are several during operation checks that must be made. Check the engine coolant temperature gauge. It should read between 175 to 195 degrees Fahrenheit. Look at the transmission oil temperature gauge to ensure it reads between 120 to 220 degrees Fahrenheit. Monitor all other instruments and watch for any unusual readings as previously discussed in the before operation PMCS. While driving the vehicle, operate the service brakes to determine stopping ability. Check for any pulling, grabbing, or other abnormal operation. Shift the transmission through all gear ranges, observing any unusual stiffness or binding of the shifting linkage. Be alert for any wandering, unusual vibration, pulling, or binding in the steering mechanism, and listen for any strange noises or vibrations in the drive axles and propeller shafts. Driving cross-country is another difficult task. This vehicle is equipped with several features to assist with this task. The transfer case has 2 driving ranges, high and low. Low range automatically engages the front axle to give the vehicle 6-wheel drive when the terrain is extremely rough. To shift the transfer case, the transmission must be in the neutral position, and the vehicle must be either stopped or slowed to less than 22 miles per hour. The transfer case can be shifted to high range when higher speeds are desired and the terrain is smoother. If additional traction is needed in high range, there is a front-wheel drive lock-in switch located on the instrument panel. This switch can be engaged when the vehicle is moving or stopped to give you 6-wheel drive and is only used when the transfer case is in high range.